order. Let everybody know that TJ's won the sweater contest for the day. Welcome to December 12th, 2024, last meeting for our annual session. I'd like to have Kyle and Mark lead us off. They're the birthday boys for recently had birthdays in the pledge. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
All right. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Corbin. Cunningham.
Here.
Davio.
Here.
DuBois. Here. Henderson. I'm sorry. I'm slacking, you guys. Okay. During. Here. Jones.
Here.
Kinville. Here. Pinard.
Here.
Rieger.
Here.
Bruder. Roberts. Schwartz.
Here.
Stupansky.
Here.
Stokes. Fosberg.
Here.
Walrod.
Here.
Wicks.
Here.
Win. 1,500 votes present.
Great. Are there any corrections to the December 3rd meeting minutes? Can I have a motion to accept? Joe Wicks and a second by Tom Davio. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried. All right. So we have I thought we were doing that after the public hearing.
11:15 for public hearing.
Oh, that's right.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, our first resolution is a resolution of appreciation for retiree recognition. This is Pete Walrod, Chairman, Government Operations Committee.
Mr. Chairman, move this resolution for adoption.
Yeah, a second.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
All right, first, if we can have Mary Burkett in the county clerk's office step forward. If she's here, we have 10 years of service with our county clerk's office.
Mike, you come up to.
Mr. Cavill, you know the routine. Troublemakers, gosh. What happens when we don't have to be in the hole?
All the way out here.
All the way out here.
Yeah, we gotta come out here.
Let's do it.
Do it again, catch my hand.
Do it again.
Go ahead. Come on out, Mary.
There you go.
Mary's been with us 10 years. She started over in the county clerk's office. And when one of my predecessors learned that she had a background in doing backroom accounting, quickly moved her over to DMV to take care of those duties when the outgoing person who'd been there for quite a long time doing that left. And we have done, she has done a lot of really good accounting for us in the back room to allow us to be able to serve fleet companies and trucking companies and auto dealers from all over New York, including downstate. We have not done anything questionable, but we have worked very hard to accommodate the needs of various types of payment in our DMV so that we can give the county well upwards of $1 million every year that we've been together. So Mary, thank you. She's also done a great job managing the staff that's behind the counter at DMV, who is consistently friendly to the public and also generally gets along with each other. And she's there for those few times that causes that to be a generally. She helps manage some of those challenges. So thank you. I will miss you in the back room next year. Do you want to say anything?
It's been interesting, and I do have to say, I've been able to write $1 million check, which many people can't do when we had to pay the state the sales tax. So I have gotten that under my belt, and I'm never going to be able to do that again.
All right, next we have Linda Paul out of our district attorney's office for 20 years of service.
Morning, everyone. This is Linda Paul. Linda actually started in 2004 under my predecessor, Don Serio, and I was lucky enough to keep her when I got elected in 2008 and started in 2009. And she's been with me every single day of, I guess now, starting my 5th term in January. Linda has been through some transitions through our office in the criminal justice system, one being the transformation from a paper file where we had everything in manila files and drawers and pull-out drawers, and to our current paperless system, and just as importantly, the transition to in discovery reform, where the requirements set forth by the state of New York for the distribution of discovery is just a crazy burden on our administrative staff, and she's been able to transition into that well too, and our whole office has, and we really haven't missed a beat. Linda's primarily assigned to the City of Oneida Court. It's our only city court in Madison County. It's our biggest court in Madison County. She's indispensable to the assistant DA assigned to that court. I would say she's indispensable to the clerks of the Oneida City Court, as evidenced by the fact that we had a nice luncheon for Linda at our office on Monday, and we had a lot of representatives of the county, including the sheriff, including the judge of the City of Oneida, and all the City of Oneida clerks. Linda's one of those employees that shows up every day. You don't have to worry about it, and she's going to stay for the full day and longer. She cares, and maybe she cares too much, because I see her frustrated coming back from Oneida City Court every Thursday as a result of the criminal justice reforms. But in the end, she is, one of the people that make the system work. There's only one piece of good news, and that is Linda's agreed to stay part-time with us and perform a high percentage of her duties, even in her retirement. So Linda, thank you for your service.
All right, next we have 3 retirements out of our sheriff's office. First, we'll have Sheriff Hood come up, as well as Matthew Schwach, and Matt has been with us for 10 years.
They were to come. I told me it wasn't coming, so I didn't, on the fly here. So Matt started with the sheriff's office. He actually came from Rome PD initially. We took him on a lateral transfer at the sheriff's office, and that was 2014. So he did 10 years with our agency. How many years ago? Five years ago, it was a tragic training accident that ended his career, and he's been going around with New York State retirement for the past four or 5 years to get to this point where they could retire him out. So that's one of the things with police work. It's a dangerous job, no matter what you do. Out on the street, it's even worse. And then to have something happen during training is a tragedy. Bill mentioned a little bit about discovery. So that's what he's been doing. New York State basically made it, a lot of anti-police and anti-law, more in favor of the criminals than of the public. And Matthew took over the responsibility of making sure all the evidence gets to the district attorney's office, and it's massive now with digital evidence. It's unbelievable the amount of storage that we had to produce, and he just did a wonderful job. Now that he's leaving, we're gonna have to replace him. It'll be a big loss for us, but we wish you the best of luck in your career. Yeah, well done. Yes, sir.
All right, Sheriff Hood, don't go anywhere. If John Black would like to step forward, we have 19 years of service.
I was here at the sheriff's office when I came in and got elected. He's done a wonderful job. He's on his second career already. The United States Air Force, and then he came and did a whole nother, 19 years with us. His wife's here, Jane. She used to work over at the law enforcement building in the records division, and I see his son who followed in his footsteps in correction back there. He's a deputy over at Onondaga County Sheriff's Office. So John started in 2005. He went through the ranks to corporal, correction sergeant, and to this day, he's one of the people that helps to fix people and get them back out on the street. He's in charge of our reentry program, which is ultimately our goal, is to put somebody back out in the street that's functioning and to get them back in society in corrections, leaving them better than when they came in. And he also did massive amounts of compliance with New York State with the Commission of Corrections. So whenever we had an accreditation, he would take the point and run with that. So he's responsible for a lot of the policies and procedures back in the jail, and he did a great job, and you will be missed. Yeah. You want to say anything? No, not at all. Really? Well done. Thank you.
And last but not least, we have our Under Sheriff, Bill Wilcox, of 28 years of service. If you can come forward, please.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 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 smile.
My last
We're happy Bill came today. It's great to have him here. He's usually not in the spotlight a lot. He's the guy that gets things done, and he's been doing it for a long time. Bill started back in '97, back in the correctional facility. So the experience that he has is very, very helpful. It's going to be a big loss for our agency, having him walk out the door. You can imagine, 27 years, all the things that you encounter and, all that stuff you store in your mind. And it's like, dealt with that before, did this, didn't work out. I know how we can do it better. So it's a lot going out. Great example in this agency for all the people, and will be definitely be missed. He's going to head for warmer areas out in North Carolina with his wife. Looking forward to that, and his daughter's already down there in Virginia, Lauren also. So we wish you the best of luck, Bill. Can't replace you. There's only one of you, and thank you for all that you did here. Helping me to succeed and moving forward. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, public hearing.
Yep.
Okay, can I have a motion to open the public hearing to rescind local law number 4 of 2024 overriding the tax cap? Rex, and a second. Lauren? Okay, all in favor say yes? Opposed? Carried. Public hearing is open. Is there anyone here to speak for or against? And can we look at the sheet back there? Where's our honorable clerk? Mr. Kevel, that's his job now. He's slacking, yeah.
Sheriff's got here so early.
Oh,
Yeah, we're gonna have to give him a reserve seat just for him. Thank you again.
we're good. Anyone else here to speak today for or against? Okay, if not, motion to close the public hearing. Joe? It's gonna have second. Alex? Okay, all in favor say yes. Opposed? Carried. All right, so we have a very special guest today, all the way from Niagara County, here to speak about solar panels and EPRs. Dawn Tim.
I have her wait till 11:30.
Okay, we can wait. We can move on then.
We'll get our resolutions done and then we can do that after.
I'll do the first.
Perfect. Yep.
This is our first public comment period. So has anybody signed up to speak? No? Okay. All right.
Chairman, can I make one comment?
You
The
can.
more I look at TJ's sweater, that is the ugliest looking thing.
It is. I think he needs a picture up here in front of everybody. Come on, TJ.
It's just trying to be festive.
Okay.
Are they your actual cats, TJ, or?
All right, moving right along the preferred agenda.
All right, our Government Operations Committee resolutions. Resolution number 2 is designating newspapers for 2025. Number 3 is appointing a budget officer and a deputy budget officer. Number 4 is renewing the stipends for the on-call system and certain county managers. Number 5 and 6 are both authorizing agreements. 5 is with Park Strategies. 6 is with Well Now Urgent Care. Number 7 is establishing salaries of certain managerial confidential employees for 2025. And number 8 is authorizing chairman to modify an agreement with Excelis Health Plan. This is Pete Walrod, Chairman, Government Operations Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move these resolutions for adoption.
Do I have a second? Rex? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kinville,
Aye.
Bernard,
Aye.
Rieger,
Aye.
Bruder, Roberts, Schwartz,
Yes.
Stupansky,
Yes.
Stokes, Bossberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks,
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, DuBois, Henderson.
Aye.
I need to fix my sheets, okay? During,
Aye.
Jones, 1,500 votes in favor. You know, I really was trying to think very hard about it and I just kept going. Next, we're going to move forward to our Finance, Ways and Means Committee preferred agenda. Resolution number 9 is appointing a director to finance as plan administrator for the Madison County Workers' Compensation Self-Insurance Plan. Number 10 is authorizing the adoption of tax exempt governmental bonds tax compliance guidelines. And resolutions 11 through 13 are all modifying the 2024 adopted county budget. 11 is for capital projects, 12 is for mental health, and 13 is for planning. This is Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move these resolutions for adoption.
Can I have a second? Melissa? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bernard,
Aye.
Rieger,
Aye.
Reuter, Roberts, Schwartz.
Yes.
Stupansky.
Yes.
Stokes, Bossberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn,
Yes.
Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, Henderson,
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville.
Aye.
1,500 votes in favor. Our Health and Human Services Committee resolutions. 14 is appointing members to the Madison County Youth Bureau Youth Board. 15 is reappointing members to the Madison County Youth Bureau Youth Board. 16 is authorizing the amendment of Madison County Youth Bureau Youth Board bylaws. 17 is appointing a member to the Madison County Board of Health. And 18 is authorized chairman to enter into an agreement for sign language interpreting services. This is Mary Kavanaugh, Chairwoman, Health and Human Services Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move these resolutions for adoption.
I have Alex, I have a second. Discussion? All in favor, or roll call, please?
Rieger,
Aye.
Reuter, Roberts, Schwartz.
Yes.
Stupansky,
Yes.
Stokes, Bossberg.
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, Henderson,
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville,
Aye.
Pinard.
Aye.
1,500 votes in favor. Our Planning Committee resolutions, number 19 is reappointing a member to the Madison County Soil and Water Conservation District Board. 20 is appointing members to the Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board. 21 is appointing a board representative to the Madison County Cornell Cooperative Extension Board. Resolutions 22 through 28 are all authorizing agreements. 22 is with the Madison County Association of Snowmobile Clubs. 23 is with Madison County Soil Water Conservation for maintenance of drainage for the Quazalone Creek Watershed District. 24 is annual stream maintenance and resiliency program. 25 is between Madison County and the Soil and Water Conservation District. 26 is authorizing a contract amendment with Beardsley Architects and Engineers for Delphi Falls County Park Design Program. 27 is with ECC Technologies, and 28 is another contract extension with LaChase for the Delphi Falls County Park Construction Project. This is Evan Schwartz, Chairwoman, Planning
Mr.
Committee.
Chairman, I would, sorry to interrupt, but I would like to see 26 and 28 move to the regular agenda.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Thank
So
you.
resolutions 22 through 28, with the exception of 26 and 28, those two will be voted on separately in regular agenda. And those are both the resolutions for the Delphi Falls County Park Design Project. So this is Evan Schwartz, Chairwoman, Planning Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move these resolutions for adoption.
Can I have a second? Kyle? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bruder, Roberts, Schwartz.
Yes.
Stepanski,
Yes.
Stokes, Vosberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham.
Yes.
Davio, Henderson.
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville,
Aye.
Pinard,
Aye.
Rieger.
Yes.
1,500 votes in favor. And give me just a second. Let me pull those out. We can talk about TJ Sweater again if you want.
Okay. Come on, TJ.
TJ, would you wear my overcoat if I went out and got it for you? You just have to put in your arms in like this and get.
This is supposed to be the nice meeting of the year.
Yes, everyone's supposed to be on their best behavior. All right. Thank you for your patience. Next is our Highway Buildings and Grounds Committee resolutions. 29 through 31 are all authorizing agreements. 29 is authorizing the modification of agreement with Johnson Controls Fire Protection. 30 is an agreement with Barton and LaJudas for the Soulsville Road Bridge Construction Inspection. And 31 is with Slate Hill Constructors for the rehabilitation of Soulsville Road Bridge over Oriskany Creek. This is Lauren Corbin, Chairman, Highway Buildings Grounds Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move these resolutions for adoption.
Okay, can I have a second? David? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Roberts. Schwartz.
Yes.
Stepanski.
Yes.
Stokes.
Yeah.
How should I take that, TJ?
Vosberg.
Yes.
Walrod. Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn. Rhonda.
Yes, I'm sorry.
This what
Focusing
happens.
on
We
the
don't
sweater.
have a committee, of the whole, everyone's, off kilter. Kavanaugh. Corbin. Cunningham.
Yes.
Davio. Henderson.
Aye.
During.
Aye.
Jones. Kinville.
Aye.
Pinard.
Aye.
Rieger.
Aye.
Reuter. 1,500 votes in favor. Oh, boy. Okay, regular agenda resolutions. Number 32 is authorize the chairman to renew an agreement with UMR. This is Rex Vosberg, Chairman, Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Second by Pete. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 33 is authorizing chairman to enter into an agreement with Axon Enterprise. Again, this is Rex Vosberg, Chairman, Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Can I have a second? Supervisor Henderson?
See, he gets it right.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Next, resolution number 34 is authorizing the county chairman and clerk of the Board of Supervisors to sign, seal, deliver tax warrants for fiscal year 2025. This is Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Can I have a second? Melissa? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Stepanski,
Yes.
Stokes, Bossberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, Henderson,
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville,
Aye.
Bernard,
Aye.
Rieger,
Aye.
Bruder, Roberts. 1,500 votes in favor. Resolution number 35 is levying unpaid water, sewer, light, demolition, and maintenance fees for various towns in the city of Oneida onto the 2025 combined tax bills. Again, this is Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Can I have a second? Supervisor Kimball? Discussion? All in favor, or roll call, I guess.
Stepanski,
Yes.
Stokes, Bossberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, Henderson,
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville, Bernard,
Aye.
Rieger,
Aye.
Bruder, Roberts,
Aye.
Schwartz.
Yes.
1,500 votes in favor. Resolution number 36 is authorizing taxing district grants and modifying the 2024 adopted county budget. This is Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
You have a second? Oh my gosh. I'm having Joe. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Stokes, Bossberg,
Yes.
Walrod, Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn, Kavanaugh, Corbin, Cunningham,
Yes.
Davio, Henderson,
Aye.
During,
Aye.
Jones, Kinville,
Aye.
Bernard,
Aye.
Rieger,
Aye.
Bruder, Roberts, Schwartz.
Yes.
Stepanski.
Yes.
1,500 votes in favor. Resolution number 37 is adopting local law number 7 for the year 2024. Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Bossberg
seconds.
Evan had her hand up before Bossberg did, so I rule on Evan. Discussion? Discussion? No? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried. The first hand that goes up, I get.
Resolution number 38 is authorizing the chairman to modify and extend an agreement with Syracuse Utilities for the Madison County Reconnect Project. This is Lauren Corbin, Chairman, Highway Buildings and Grounds, co-signed by Evan Schwartz, Chairwoman, Planning Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Second by Dave. Beecham, sorry. You have discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Carried.
There is an additional resolution that's on your desks today. This is authorizing the chairman to enter into agreements with abstract companies for 2024 and 2025. This is for the county clerk's office. Matt Roberts, Chairman, Finance, Ways and Means Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Have a second? Wicks. Beecha. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Carried.
All right, we are coming back to resolution number 26. This is authorizing a contract amendment with Beardsley Architects and Engineers for a Delphi Falls County Park Design Project. Evan Schwartz, Chairwoman, Planning Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Can I have a second? Mr. Vosberg. Okay, discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're extending this Beasley Architects for 1 month, not to exceed $25,000. And for the next resolution, we're extending the Chase for 1 month not to exceed $12,000. So I'm just curious why we're extending 1 month and it could cost the county $37,000. It seems a little unreasonable and we need to know why, I would say.
Scott, would you like to address that?
Think it's on now. Okay. All right. So there's two contracts here that were just asked about. The Beardsley contract, they're the architect that designed Delphi Falls for us. So there's three components to this. One of them is the water system. The water at Delphi Falls has been problematic since we started the project about 2 years ago. And the design for the water treatment system has been a little bit more involved than we expected. And so that's taken more effort from Beardsley. We've been working with the health department. We've come to a resolution just as of yesterday as to the system, but a bit more work to get there. And there's two other components of the project that the state codes department has required more of the design and build than we anticipated. Primarily, these involve the bollards around both the electrical service box and the area that has propane electrical service and the generators. I think though they were designed to certain standards, the state said that we needed to go above and beyond. And so this is in order to comply with that. And then LaChase has been our construction management firm that's been involved in the project since 2023. And their contract ended in November. We're just about at the end of the project. We wanted to retain them for essentially 1 more month's time to see, we're doing the punch list work now, doing the final codes inspections and all of the final payment applications and that sort of thing. So we'd like to continue them on for that additional 12,100. This is all contained in the contingency budget for the project. And so that's what both these contracts relate to.
Any other discussion? Or Lauren, are you?
What's left in the contingency fund? Do we know?
After this, there'll be about $51,000.
Because we did either a year or two ago, the board approved a $2 million over estimated actual cost on a resolution. And I was just curious where the $2 million is put and when that will be used, or is that appropriated as we speak?
That was appropriated almost 2 years ago. So we didn't do the project without that appropriation. Included with that appropriation was approximately $350 in contingency, which was about 8% of the total project costs. And so just like any construction project, we've maintained and monitored that contingency budget right through. So.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Mr.
Dave?
Chairman, I guess the only issue I have with this is if everybody knew this water was an issue 2 years ago, I understand things happen, but due diligence, I guess. I just have an issue with that part of it. The part with the generators and all that, I understand. I understand the codes people can be difficult sometimes, but I guess the water issue is what, if we knew about this, it should have been something that they should have taken care of before.
Scott, you dug a new, deeper well, correct?
Yeah, we dug the well's 500 feet out there. And so that was installed. I don't remember the exact date, but I think it was like March of 2023. And the initial well test was taken at that time, probably too early. The system hadn't been flushed. And so we've been working with Beardsley and the health department ever since that point to design a treatment system. It's to a higher standard, given that it's a public building. And so the system is designed both for quality and quantity. The well doesn't have a high yield, and so there's a holding tank of about 2,500 gallons there. and the treatment system that's designed and completed. There was some additional testing required in order to look at certain components of the water sampling. And the system is now completed, designed. I think Health Department is just about done with their review, and it's been very cooperative process going through. It's just taken more than we anticipated, so.
Okay. Any further discussion? Pete?
Is it a rumor? Is it true that I heard that we had tried to use a garden hose from the falls, but Eric Weiss nixed that? Is there truth to that rumor?
There is some truth to
Because that would have
yes.
been a large, huge cost savings, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we have definitely thought about dropping a hose into the creek, but
Yeah.
Too many mosquitoes.
if you go back to when we first acquired this property, the well that was, or the spring that served the residents of that property for its entire 65 plus years was actually off the property. And certainly the health department wouldn't allow a surface spring to serve a public water system. So that's why we've been going down this path since at least the last 2 years. So
Thank you for that
that's a
excellent
good
question,
idea,
Pete.
Yeah. We can have Eric do some more sampling. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna hook it to a keg though.
Okay, so any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Yep. Stokes. Mossberg.
Yes.
Walrod.
Aye.
Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn. Kavanaugh. Corbin. Cunningham.
Yes.
Davio. Henderson.
Aye.
During.
Aye.
Jones. Kinville.
Aye.
Bernard.
Aye.
Rieger.
Aye.
Bruder. Roberts. Schwartz.
Yes.
Stupansky.
Yes.
1,500 votes in favor. Revisit resolution number 28. This is authorizing a contract extension with LaChase for the Delphi Falls County Park Construction Project. Once again, this is Evan Schwartz, Chairwoman, Planning Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I move this resolution for adoption.
Can I have a second? Kyle? Discussion? Roll call, please.
Vosberg.
Yes.
Walrod.
Aye.
Wicks.
Yes.
Wynn. Kavanaugh. Corbin. Cunningham.
Yes.
Davio. Henderson.
Aye.
During.
Aye.
Jones. Kinville. Pinard.
Aye.
Rieger.
Aye.
Ruder. Roberts.
Aye.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Stupansky.
Yes.
Stokes. 1,500 votes in favor.
Okay, second comment period. Mike, you're up. Well, it's,
Best to check.
yes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this 19-person board with how many eyes? Over 40 eyes looking at me.
Mr. Chairman, I have one comment. I'm sort of triggered by the fact that we're out of alphabetical order. We need to switch those two around.
It was going to be addressed the beginning of the year and my roll call sheets will be fixed by then.
Well, that just, I don't know.
It would only
It makes me
require
nervous.
one seat switch.
Thank you for that observation, Matt.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
There's no
Uh,
monetary value.
Okay, a
to
couple
that.
things. There's, if you want to change committees around so that we can keep it alphabetical. But please let me know. I've had a few people ask to change or get off a committee, but let me know, would you, if you want to change around, swap, or do something different. Okay, because once in January, we'll set that. Pete, you're about to say something.
Pretty much.
Unfortunately,
We
except
weren't
for
going to
you.
tell you this way.
We're gonna have to have a
Except for you.
stipend to be on GOC.
Is there any other business to come before this board? Yes, Melissa.
Jim, I just want to let everyone know that Madison County Waste Transfer Station is going to be providing residential households with one free residential yard waste punch card, which will be valid for 2 small car visits or 1 pickup truck or small trailer load for 2025. This will basically be for people dropping off their trees, Christmas trees, their real Christmas trees.
Great.
And the Department of Solid Waste will offer free holiday tree drop off January 2nd to February 15th at the 4 transfer stations. Oh, I take that back. A punch card will not be required for that. That's free, sorry. But we will have the free punch cards for the towns, and I think that's what's on everyone's table, the bags. That's it.
All right. Did you want to talk about our plastics conversation?
Sure. Or
I can if you want.
we met, let me pull up my notes. We had a meeting with Regen, which is a company that is working with a technology called with Eco Creation, which is out of South Korea. It is basically a pyrolysis system, which I guess the easiest way to explain it would be like a convection oven, and they cook at high temperature, well, 500, but there's no flames or anything like that. They're looking to take municipal plastics that you would traditionally not be able to recycle and put them into this kind of enclave system and make that into a either heating oil or off-road diesel. The system is closed, so there's virtually no smell that comes from the system. The system does take probably about 2-3 hours to start and use energy. And then after that 2 to 3 hours, it starts using the gas from the system to actually run the system. They are looking at approximately 10 tons per day of plastics, which would be about 14 truckloads. And the 10 tons equals approximately 2,000 gallons of oil. They are also looking to do a regional approach with this. So nothing further than 100-mile radius. They are also planning on starting a new business to train operators, which will be veterans and primarily military engineers, to train and learn how to operate the system so that they can go around and train others. As of right now, they do have a plant up in Puerto Rico. The size of that is less than half an acre, and they are on their 4th generation system. And they have a few different models set up. So as far as business models, we could run it ourselves. We could do almost a hybrid partnership with them or allow them to run. And basically, we are just landlords.
Okay, plastic energy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
And they
Right.
were meeting with the DEC after us, so I can't really give any more information on what the DEC said. But they did give us a report from, I think, 2017, if I remember correctly. And if anyone wants that information, I can forward it to the board.
Thank you, Melissa.
Mhm.
Kyle, did you have a question?
Yeah, just one quick comment, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say thank you to Caitlin Lynch, who's the Director of Madison County Tourism. She was gracious enough to come in the bad weather to our town board meeting on Monday night and really helped educate our community. And just wanted to thank her. With her leadership this year, they have done remarkable work. And when you look at the details, you see the impact that regardless of where they're working on, it helps every single township in the city in our county. So just wanted to tip my cap to Caitlin Lynch and the whole Madison County tourism team. So thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Any other business comments? Okay. Talking about somebody that's come a long way today from Niagara County to talk to us about solar panels and EPRs is the Director of the Solid Waste for Niagara County, Don Tim. I think you have that. She handed that out. Okay.
Come on up.
Come on up.
Yeah.
You want me to put her here?
You want to sit? You want to?
What are we gonna start with? Jingle bells?
You want
or-
to sit or stand?
Standing's totally fine with me, thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Oh, the right one. Oh, goodness. This is a ridiculous question, but can you stand on that carpet?
No, you'll say. I have a button that,
I made that mistake once in one of the towns I was in where I walked right on it and they're like, what are you doing? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm just fresh out of the car, so if I've got a little bit of energy. I was white knuckling it from Rochester to Batavia, and then it got a little bit better. So, thank you so much for having me here. I'm Dawn Tim. I am Niagara County's environmental coordinator. Essentially, what that means is anything that any other division in county government doesn't want as it relates to the environment is what I handle. So this is where solar panels come in. But also a lot of my work focuses on materials management. And I'm the chair of the New York Product Stewardship Council. So extended producer responsibility is a topic that I am professionally and even personally adamant about. So today I'm going to blend those two topics together. Much of the work that I do in Niagara County today and going forward, I think for the foreseeable future, involves our solar panel management. And then we blend that with extended producer responsibility. And just to be really, really brief about EPR, EPR is essentially engaging manufacturers in a product's end of life. So what we sought with solar panel EPR is that instead of the community inheriting the problem or inheriting the responsibility of managing the material at the end of life, that we were going to engage the manufacturers to set up a clear financial mechanism to do that, where it would be off the taxpayer's back. All right, so where we started. As I keep giving this presentation, I get a little more worried about me using this picture because this is kind of like the poster of all posters when it comes to the Love Canal. And the Love Canal is in Niagara County, so I can't deny that. You know, it's there. And there's multiple generations of residents that live in that community that are, you know, still feel the pains of that. Now, I didn't live there when it happened, but I can honestly tell you that it was one of the reasons that I entered into the environmental field. So this is here, but also Niagara County is also home to multiple solid waste management units. We have the northeast only hazardous waste landfill. We have historical Manhattan Project waste. We have multiple chemical ordinances and radioactive waste left over from the Manhattan Project. So, you know, we kind of have adopted this attitude like, so there was the next best energy or the next best technology thing, but our community and our environment has suffered from that. So when it comes to solar, our entire goal was to make sure that we were not inheriting a problem, right, and passing it on to our residents. And the writing's on the wall. I mean, I know I don't have to tell anybody in any leadership position in any community that we have New York's Climate Leadership Act, that there are goals. And the goals here are 70% by 2030. And this is renewable energy. And for a community that is predominantly agricultural, predominantly flat, with a significant amount of energy transmission lines, not only from our shuttered highest taxpayer coal burn fire plant in Somerset, New York, no longer exists, and also the hydroelectric power plant in Niagara Falls. If you do a crisscross right across Niagara County, it puts us right in the crosshairs for ample opportunity for solar development. Now, I want to stop right there because it's going to, you know, you could probably take the tone of like, oh, Niagara County, Dawn Tim, they're anti-solar. Absolutely not the case. We are pro-solar. We are pro-solar in the right spot. We are pro-solar with the right end solution. Right spot? Let's put it on brownfields. We have plenty of those in Niagara County. Like I said, we have an environmental legacy longer than most in the Northeast, or, you know, could measure up to most. And we have an ample amount of flat land, and we have an ample amount of electrical capacity. We know that. We know it's there. We know it's coming. We want it there. We want it in the right spot before we start using up aggregable farmland, right? But before we start, you know, purchasing, you know, agricultural products from out of state, out of country, we want to make sure that we're utilizing our own apples and utilizing our own grapes and our own crops that we have in our community. So with the writing on the wall,
the projects keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. We became concerned about some of the utility grade projects, and I'm not necessarily concerned if there are utility grade projects looking into your community, but for our community, we have some, and I'll get to those in a little bit later in my slides. But some of the things that we were concerned about is residents started to speak up. There are community distributed generation systems. So those are kind of your 5 megawatt systems. There's a lot of individual residents that are putting solar panels on their homes. Now, these are, less than 1 megawatt, real small systems, 30, 50 panels, something along those lines. Were we concerned about those? Sure. But as an environmental manager, we're thinking we can kind of handle that in our household hazardous waste stream or electronic waste stream. We're not talking about tens of thousands of panels at the end of life of a project. But still, something we wanted to be conscientious of. I talked about the farmland, became really, really concerned about how much farmland is being gobbled up. But it's a double-edged sword, right? You have farmers have worked, labored their entire life, have now found that their land, their flat, lovely land, can be leased for solar far greater than them actually working it. That is something we certainly never wanted to get in the way of. This individual property rights, heck, I mean, in a way, that feels like a retirement. That feels like the lottery. And then there's also, the fact that your community becomes inundated with these. And these are some of the balances. There's no right or wrong answer there. These were just concerns that we had. And then when you get into the larger projects, 20 megawatts and greater, you're talking about utility grade projects. These are, hundreds of thousands of panels on one, for one installation that could be spread out over, hundreds of acres, thousands of acres. And then the home rule. And I know I don't need to preach about home rule to anyone, but the Office of Renewable Energy Siting, which was established by the climate leadership, or well, CLCPA, the Office of Renewable Energy Siting, or RES, sort of arrests that ability to make decisions. So in our community, we have the town of Cambria that has the Bear Ridge projects, a rather large project coming in. And ultimately, anything that the towns where this installation will be hosted, if anything they had to say about the siting about it was deferred to ORES. And they make the decision. And this became a bit of a point of contention. And it was really this project. This was really the bellwether for the legislators in Niagara County to say, we need to do something. We don't want to stop solar. We can't stop solar. If we do, it's just a lawsuit inviting a lot of trouble. But what can we do to make sure we're protecting the long-term environmental integrity of the community? So that's where I came in. Luckily, that's the other opportunity that the other hat that I wear is the chair of the New York Product Stewardship Council, and one passionate about extended producer responsibility. So some of the digging that I've done, we look through CLCPA, and then I think it's page 243. Lo and behold, right there it says EPR for solar panels is one of the goals of New York State. And for me, and doing this for nearly 20 years, I'm thinking, wow. They got it right this time, let's push something and then let's figure out an end use solution. So we were kind of poking around Albany and looking into some of the legislative officials, trying to identify if they had a solution, if they had any policy, anything drafted, and we didn't come up with anything. And Niagara County is a more conservative community. So it's one that doesn't necessarily share much of the same philosophy as a lot of Albany. So we really weren't getting much traction there. And some of the bills that were introduced regarding the solar panel EPR in general were dated and really wouldn't necessarily work. They had a sunset date of 10 years. These panels are in warranty for 15 and they can last for 35. It didn't make much sense. So we went rogue and we did it ourselves. We went our own way. Cue Lindsey Buckingham right there. So in looking at us creating our law, ultimately what we wanted to do is we knew that because we were going to be the first in New York, that we needed to do it right. And it's hard to say, tiny little 210,000 people community in Niagara County, New York was going to kind of carry the load for the rest of the state. But if we were going to, this is where I dug my heels in. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So we hired a nationally recognized consultant to help us draft a law. We started hosting stakeholder sessions. It was important for us to get producers and get recyclers, identify people in Europe that could potentially tell us how it's working and where it's going. Now, do we have a big broad reach because we started inviting all these people to say, hey, we're doing a law in Niagara County, New York. Do you want to become involved? No, but we tried. Briefly, the summary of our law. It is an EPR law. It does require the manufacturers to gain responsibility or assume responsibility. We are very, very explicit in our roles between the responsibility of the manufacturer itself, a producer responsibility organization, and not on installers. The last thing we wanted to do was penalize people that employ in our community, work in our state, employ our residents, things like that. We needed some teeth, some really big teeth. So we created a non-compliance penalty of $100 per panel per day. And I've often joked with our county manager that, you know, given one of these large scale projects, 2 months out of compliance, we can completely wipe out our entire tax levy. The reality is us actually going after that money would be extremely challenging for reasons I'll get to. So some of these requirements, if you are putting a solar installation on your home or in a farm field or a utility grade project, within 30 days of you taking delivery of panels, we'll need to have a plan approved. And that plan needs to essentially tell us, how are you going to finance this? How are you going to take back panels? Are you going to meet a performance requirement where at least 85% of the panels are going to be recycled and 100% are going to be recovered? And do you have a sufficient financial reserve to manage that completely throughout the process? It's not that difficult. And I've read through plenty of plans, but the trouble that I'm having, I'll get back to decommissioning. The trouble I'm having is that I'm dealing with an international company. You're looking at the entire division of environmental and solid waste for Niagara County. You know, I'm in Madison County today. There's not a lot of resources to tap into Korea, Vietnam, China, Taiwan, where a lot of these materials are coming from. We're making an attempt, but we're not getting recognition. One of the things that the solar industry has said, so there's the NYSEA, Solar Energy Industry Association. They don't like me. They don't like the law. They think it's getting in the way of solar. They said there's nothing but a roadblock. Niagara County's anti-solar. You're just trying to throw up roadblocks. As I said, not the case. And I mean, if they perceive that as lip service, they perceive it as lip service. Like there's nothing I can do to change that. But solar is still happening. There's 836 residential installations, and there's a lot of the data here supporting it. We have a lot of commercial installations, a significant amount in the pipeline still. So those are projects, you develop a community distributed generation project. You're looking at 3 to 5 years until you actually, flip the switch. So like I said, NYSEA has, we're not sending holiday cards to each other, but they did invite me to a conference that took place at the New York Power Authority this summer, which I thought was a nice olive branch. I'll be honest, I was the least popular person in the room. Haven't felt that way since entering the cafeteria in 9th grade, but still, it was tough, but it was a really good conversation to have with installers in the room, those that, might not have had the education about our law and the motivation. And then there's the Alliance for Clean Energy. They typically support the utility grade projects, and they too were less than pleased, so much so that they had lobbied hard for the state legislature to preempt any law and pass legislation last session to preempt any law that required solar panel recycling until the state got to it. I'm not holding my breath on the state to get to it. And I don't blame the state for that. I mean, the state has lofty energy goals, and I don't think that any, whether it's, an anthill or a mountain in their way, I don't think they would ever want to put anything in their way. What I wanted to point out here, and like I said, I'm not necessarily sure you have this coming into Madison County, but we have, through our local law, we have our installed capacity right around 43 megawatts, the pipeline 110, but then we have 880 megawatts, looking at almost 4 or 5 million panels coming into the community to generate solar power. And this is where the concern came from. This is the Bear Ridge part. What is going to happen with this one manufacturer with such a significant amount of panels? And a lot of the what ifs happen, and that's where I can go back to the previous slide and talk about decommissioning versus EPR. We have a legacy site in one of our communities in the town of Newfane. It was a developer owned the project, went belly up, and it's sitting there. It's it's sitting there. It's begging for rocks to be thrown at it, which they are, and no one is going in there. There's no abandonment clause. There's no decommissioning policy with it. So, and it's as we were putting together a law and trying to figure out what our role is, decommissioning is effective. There are decommissioning bonds and there are decommissioning plans that say exactly what they're going to do when the panel is done. Our concern became, just as the weather I drove through today, what about hailstorms? What about non-warranty covered damage? You know, how long are these things going to be stored? Are they going to be stored in the open? You know, there's a plethora of damage that a community couldn't control. So we asked for more, and we asked for recycling. Decommissioning doesn't say recycling. Decommissioning says pack it up, put it in the truck, and send it wherever is the path of least economic resistance. And I mean, by all intents, that's fine. Sometimes Niagara County is the path of least economic resistance for a lot of solid waste concerns. So we were empathetic to that part, and that was a bit of our motivation to go with EPR. So now looking at some of the challenges that we've had, this was passed in 2021. And it was August of 2021 that we started to implement, and it was a very slow implementation phase. Like I said, interacting with international companies is challenging. Installers ignored us, and then we started to get, a little nasty and say, "Oh, you have a project. Where is your plan? Who is your manufacturer?" Or they're applying for a building permit. So we started to take a little bit of action there. Up until a really clever lawyer had exposed a loophole in our definitions. Section 2(8)(g) is a carve out for a producer responsibility organization. It essentially says the manufacturer is responsible, but if they want to delegate it to somebody else, they can. So these installers had said, we don't even know who our manufacturer is. We bought this from a third party who bought it from another party, and the supply chain's all screwed up. We're going to assume responsibility ourselves. So they are assuming responsibility. Have exposed that loophole. It's absolutely not what we intended, but it works. And getting back here to my pipeline projects, 39% of the panels that are going to be installed in Niagara County are going to be approved, meaning their entire end of life is managed. This is something that will not become an environmental legacy to our community, will not become an economic liability to the community, and we know they're recycled. It begs the question too, like what about residences? And I said, dealing with that under their household hazardous waste program or e-waste program. I think if I were to redo this again, I would make a suggestion that we do a 1 megawatt and smaller or a residential carve out. And look to identify programs that you could potentially have manufacturers fund a certain portion that local government can handle. I'm not one for creating more administrative tasks, but it seems appropriate to do that because you're talking volume. Sorry to keep flashing back here, but of the 129,000 panels you have on roughly 830 or so residential properties versus the 77 commercial properties with nearly 90,000 panels. It's just a function of scale. And so Greg was great enough to provide me with a little bit of data. And I was really interested to see, just from a megawatt capacity, the total capacity that's installed, where Madison County measures up against Niagara County. We have almost double the number of projects, but we're really consistent on the total megawatts generated. And essentially, you've got a lot of panels in your community, probably a lot of community distributed generation, the 5-8 megawatt type projects. You've got 6 commercial projects in the pipeline. There's a significant investment. The project investment has been $97 million in your community, of which a third of that is financed by the NYSERDA incentive. All of this data is available from NYSERDA's website. From the manufacturer perspective, you've got 50 different manufacturers in your community, but 90% of them are just represented by 8 manufacturers. And then this really closes out my discussion. What is on the horizon? Obviously, I'm here not just because you wanted to hang out with me for a couple minutes, but I'm here to to talk about solar, our local law, the ups and the downs, and if there is any opportunity. Let me say not any opportunity. What I am most interested in, if you all have any interest in pursuing a local law, because at that point I will roll out the red carpet of myself and say, let's do this. Because doing it alone is not that great. It gets lonely. It gets lonely down here. But then again, this is something I do believe in because the transition is happening. When I was invited to the NYC conference, this the way that they said it, and I'll roughly paraphrase where they were at. Is that the only part of the energy transition that's been successful has been community distributed generation, and they're asking for more. They're asking for more money. They're asking for more capacity from the governor, and they have a lot of great statistics to support that. And so my only message there is it's still coming. And this local law is not set up to impede it. It's meant to protect us. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. I'm sure we have lots of questions. So somebody like to ask a question.
Yes, Dawn, thank you for that. That in our small little town of Fenner, we've just to go back up on Bear Ridge, is that a Cypress Creek?
It is.
Well, that gentleman told us that was all complete and online a couple of years ago.
Oh, there's not a solar panel in.
Oh, that's fun. Anyway. But anyway.
Mistaken, but I don't think I can pass it. I pass it often. Yep.
Right. And so they want to cover 1,500 acres in our town. So between the windmills that we have, windmills they want to put in, and the solar, it's going to cover over 20% of our land. And that solar array is, I refuse to call it farms because I've been a farmer my whole life. So I just, and it's mostly on prime farmland. They like the, to pick the low hanging fruit. So, and I understand farmers, there's another gentleman here and I went through the 70s and 80s that times were tough, and I can't believe that he would sign up. I know I wouldn't farm your whole life and cover it. As one of my Amish friends says, cover it with glass and send the power to New York City. This project, like I said, covers that 150 acres of hardwood. The maple syrup in this area is huge. So I think this is something we really need to, it's very disconcerting to me that this is going to go in, and I've heard, well, it's only 1,500 acres in our town, but it's, I've talked to other supervisors, it's coming all over the county, and it's kind of scary when you're talking about 6,000 or 7,000 acres. It's going to be covered up with solar panels. And as one other person said, New York City brings our garbage up here and we're going to send power down there. So.
And I can empathize with that argument, and we've heard it in our own community. Oh, it's just this much, or oh, the energy's going here. And I've grappled with this, and I'm only thinking out loud because what is wonderful about Niagara County is we grow some really great apples, right? And I don't care, and I don't think any farmer cares who eats those apples. They could be an apple in New York City. They could be an apple in Texas. Doesn't matter. They're eating a Niagara County grown apple, and it's great. But when it comes to energy, I'm stuck. I get stuck there because I'm like, well, we're generating energy, but it doesn't stay in our community. And the character of Niagara County, again, like I don't pay a ridiculously low amount of electricity in Niagara County. I pay actually some of the state's highest. But we have NYPA right in our community. We should, and so there's a little bit of a hardened approach to the energy farming, if you will, right? It's not staying in our community, and is it truly benefiting our community? And the other story I'll share is that there is a solar installation in the town of Camillus. It's a community distributed generation installation, and the broker who sells the power, the low cost 10% off power, had called me personally and said, "Do you want to buy green power?" I'm like, "From where?" I'm thinking, I know my whole community. I don't have any extra projects. Well, we've got a project in the town of Camillus that we have to hit our quota on, and we need to sell it. What? That's Camillus's power, right? That's their community. So there's a couple of things that need to be cleared up. And like I said, I'm thinking out loud, and it's about the exporting of energy, and it's about the perception of community distributed generation. So is Niagara County a community of the town of Camillus? Sure it is. But was that the intent? And I know when I'm trying to sell a community distributed generation project that's covering my landfill, I want it to benefit the people of the refuse district of Niagara County. I don't want it to benefit anybody else. That's where my mindset was. But it's bigger, and there's, every day that I'm immersed into this project, field, you kind of turn over a new stone. And that's all I wanted to share with that. But I entirely get it. The land use is challenging. The governor did pass last session that I don't want to butcher this, but ultimately you can't say I'm just going to go to the cheapest land. If it's farmland, you just can't say I'm going to use it, or I'm not going to use my brownfield area because it costs too much. That can no longer be. You can't cite economic reasons for not using a brownfield area. And that's supposed to protect our farmland. I'm not necessarily sure it does. It's taken time. And we have a project in Somerset, New York, where there is a brownfield where the old coal powered plant was. And then directly across the street are fields that have been farmed for decades, maybe a century, that they own they own them, and that they would turn into solar installations, but not develop the brownfield. It's cost. But we're citing, well, why? Like, put it where you can't use it.
Don,
What system do you have supervisors or county legislators?
We have county legislators.
My question's always been, small town of DeRuyter, 1,200 residents. The stick's pretty small. My question is, should Madison County have someone like yourself? I just wonder if there's a bigger stick. It's not, yeah, we're just Madison County, small county, but we really need to, this is coming, it's still coming. The problem is, like in DeRuyter, we have places where they could put it and be beneficial to the landowner and it would create some power, but they want it right along the main line. They put the first turbines probably in the state up in Fenner, New York. And so they got this big K line up there. That's why they want everything up there. They already have the infrastructure to get the power out of there. So my question is, and to Mark and to Jim and everybody, the supervisors, can Madison County do something as a governing body to just get some control? Because it's hard for us little towns to have any kind of control. I mean, just our home rule law. I mean, our town attorney, I told him to do it. I said, if they put solar panels in, I want them made in the United States of America. Probably never hold up, but that's one of our local laws that we adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And I want a cash bond to take all this garbage out of there when it's useless. Probably never hold up in court, but that's where we started. That was our line in the sand, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God we had a local law already on the books that limited the height of the turbines to like 209 feet. So that kept all these monsters out. We just readopted it, updated some things and ran that through our local government down there, home rule. But once you reach that 25 megawatt threshold, all bets are off. So I'm just looking for something for maybe the county of Madison can kind of help keep track of this monsters that's flowing through our county. That's my thing. And I wonder if you're hearing, last one time was the first time, in fact, the chairman was in a meeting with me. They mentioned nuclear, if you heard anything about these small nuclear generating plants that they don't think they can solve all their green energy solutions with just renewable solar and wind. They got to do a little something else. So
in the climate space, we hear a lot. And I have not heard about the small nuclear. I mean, we're talking about solar panels and wind turbines, renewable energy siting, and how difficult that is. Nuclear, in my very, very limited experience dealing with radioactive energy, is challenging and extremely challenging. But if we're going to meet those goals, I have to believe that it comes into the equation, and that's just me as a scientist saying that. As far as a collective governing body, I have talked to DEC. DEC has approached me about our local law. They're very interested. It's about motivation from the state. I don't believe that the legislature has the motivation to pass it for their own reasons. And it's in our discussions with DEC have never gone further. Now, taking a step back and looking at the national landscape of extended producer responsibility, you look at some of the real effective leadership programs across the country. California, I look to, and they've always said the rule of 12. If you get 12 counties, 12 towns, 12 anything in your state to pass a law, you've got attention. And that's what brings me around in talking. NISAC has been supportive and has sponsored sessions for us, for me and to talk about the local law. And I think as time goes on, we continue to add more programs. It becomes more visible to more New Yorkers, and more New Yorkers look to identify options.
Don and Rex, we met this past week with our attorneys, Dave, TJ, and myself, and our strategy is going to bring other counties together instead of just our county alone. So even last night, I talked to 3 county execs to form a coalition with us to try to get it out to the public, because what's going to happen is one of these monsters are going to poke up next to somebody's house. They're going to say, why you supervisors didn't stop this. And I think that getting public information out, not just our county, but multiple counties, I think is the way to do it and get that more publicized. I think even if it's sensationalism, I did not realize that most of these companies, or all of them that we're confronting right now, are not your U.S. companies.
None.
That are citing these.
I don't think there's any domestic manufacturer in the United
Right.
States. Maybe one, Canadian Power may do some North American production, but for the most part, it is.
So how do we form even a bigger coalition? Like, we can certainly get counties around us, but how do we form even a bigger coalition? Any thoughts on trying to get all the counties other than?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's grassroots, right? It's you and I talking right now, and then your colleagues in other communities and getting together. I would be 110% behind any effort to support, talk, discuss, provide our local law, make available our attorneys or our consultants that have helped in the process, draft a better law, and help you implement the whole thing for the coalition. It's important for rural communities, right. and having a rural community coalition, I think that makes a ton of sense.
Right. Evan?
Just one question. Extended producer responsibility in other fields, how well has it worked? Like, are there good examples where the manufacturers are taking responsibility? I just don't know anything about it.
Oh, certainly. No, that's a wonderful question. I'll start off with the worst. The worst example of extended producer responsibility, at least in the eyes of local governments, has been our Electronic Equipment Act. That was passed in 2010. We've learned a lot from that. And that had a structure where it was based upon convenience and was based upon total sales. So there was a formula that went in there. We found that the formula ultimately created a ceiling. So when the town of Lockport reached its quota, the funding was cut off. And that was an issue with that. On the flip side, it was miserable for local governments to implement up until amendments were made recently in the last 2 years. But to this point, it has diverted a tremendous amount of waste. I mean, I think the last I heard is like, 1 million tons of electronics have been diverted. So it's been successful. Other successful programs, the mercury thermostat law, that's an EPR law. Rechargeable batteries. Now, rechargeable batteries needs to be amended because when the rechargeable battery law was put into place, we didn't have e-mobility devices. We weren't hovering around or, e-biking around at that point in time. We need to expand it for that. Paint. If you're familiar with taking your paint back, paint care, not true extended producer responsibility, because when you go to the hardware store and purchase paint, you see there's a visible fee on there. We're going to soon have carpets. Carpet will be an EPR law that we're going to have that was recently passed, that goes into effect in 26 or 26. We're working hard on mattresses. That might be this session. And pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals we were tremendously successful with, where we have a producer responsibility, 2 of them in New York State, Inmar and Med Project, that have to host medical take back at any pharmacy of 10 or more in the state. So there's pharmaceutical take back. So those are some of the more successful. In its truest form, the bottle bill is a really effective EPR policy. And we're in need of amendments to that. I mean, granted, I think the bottle bill is 1982. So it's a young EPR bill. Lead acid batteries, core deposit there. So those are just a few, just so you understand the concept.
And in terms of actually recycling solar panels, what happens? What are the recycling methods? What What do you do with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. What a lot of these recyclers have told me is that, I mean, it's aluminum, easy. You know, peel the aluminum off, it's there, and then it's this silicone or the glass. And there, as more programs come online, the cost to do so, to process them and ship them, goes down. The technology is increasing. I would implore you to look at a company called Solar Cycle. They're out of Odessa, Texas. They have really come up with some great technology. These are folks in the solar field. They've been targeted by a lot of the stewardship plans have been submitted to become the end user. But then the e-waste field is really capturing quite a bit of it as well. You know, the wiring and the components and such. But it really is the silicon cells that they can chip up, reprocess, and repurpose.
Dawn, thank you for coming. I mentioned everybody at NISAC, the first meeting I went to for the committee, there were 4 of us in the room. You were one of them. You probably don't remember me, but now it's standing room only, and there's people out in the hallway peeking their head in. So that's good. I think NISAC should be one of the ways we can get all the counties together, because everybody's there physically. And maybe there's some way that we could get the county leaders together. I mean, a lot of the county executives and chairmen or our chair people are there. And I think chairman's right. You need to get some momentum. And I think everybody's starting to poke their head up and understand what's really going on. But I think we should use NISAC as a method of getting people together for sure.
What I can do is I can reach out to NISAC. I was with Alex Regan yesterday and mentioned I was coming here, and I intend to follow up with her. And the one of the conferences, I believe it's the fall conference, is in Niagara County this year. And it might be nice to have a workshop or a forum about our local law, specifically, maybe kind of targeting our Climate Action Committee, but also the Rural Communities Committee. Maybe get those interested folks in there if you think it's a good idea.
Any other questions?
Yes, Dawn, can you, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Rhonda.
The Bear Ridge, has their application been deemed complete, or do you know?
So they're in that 94C phase. I believe the project has been approved, and I haven't looked up to date to see exactly where it's at. Cypress Creek does have smaller community distributed generation projects that they have submitted a plan for. So I kind of take that as a victory in the sense, well, they know about the law, like the company knows, but we have not seen anything in any correspondence recently through the county. So 94C carves out those funds, you know, for legal funds and such, and that is handled by the town of Cambria and Pendleton, where this installation is taking place. But I can certainly follow up with that and identify just where they're at in the process.
Yeah, because the one, their application was just deemed complete, and we got, our attorneys got 60 days to respond, and then we have the 30 days too. But you probably know this as well as I do, or better, they don't respond very well to any of our comments, concerns.
There's a lot of finger crossing going on that do they know about our local law? Do they know about our local laws? Agreed.
Very frustrating.
Well, my first question is that I have always been told that the batteries were not recyclable.
Oh, which ones? Like a single use battery, like you change out the batteries in this remote control?
No, the batteries in the solar panels.
Oh, batteries in the solar. Oh, okay. Oh no. A lithium ion battery is recyclable on a specific scale. And you know, it's sort of the caveat with any recycling is at what cost. Anything can be recycled, just at what cost. There is no policy right now for any battery bigger than say what goes into a power tool that in New York State that is required to be recycled. Doesn't mean it can't be. There just isn't policy in place to recycle it. Might be cost prohibitive to collect it, to package it. I know when it comes to e-mobility devices, we were dealing with this in New York City. If you have an e-bike, you have to pack it up in a specialized container to mail it back to be recycled. It can be, but it's way more expensive than throwing them all into a Gaylord container and putting them back, of a truck and hauling it to where it needs to go. It's economics. It can be recycled. They can be repurposed and harvested. Why we're not tapping into that is another question I have. The next question I have besides solar panels comes into why are we not if we are pushing so much for full electrification and battery storage in New York State, why are we not making it a circular economy where we have collecting of those batteries and repurposing and putting back into the program? That's my next one.
Well, we have a very small community and we've recently had several farmers approached. One gentleman has just put up 300 acres for sale. And I mean, as you said, if you've been a farmer your entire life and it's hard work and it's 7 hours a day, 24 hours. I mean, they just work.
Mm-hmm.
You can't honestly blame them if they get an opportunity
Not one
like
bit.
this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think our little town is really prepared to, I mean, we do have a solar law, but I don't think we're prepared to deal with this. I also was told that the batteries leach into the soil. Is there any truth to that?
That's challenging. I don't have any factual evidence indicating that they leak. Now, if something was broken, disrupted, vandalized, exploded, of course, the potential exists. There are measures in place, containment measures in place to make sure that does not happen. What I've heard a lot of is that the anti-reflective coating on a solar panel, that when a raindrop hits it, it leaches off, it hits the soil, and it contaminates with PFAS. I haven't looked deep enough into that. There are scientific papers for, and then there are, a lot of articles not peer reviewed against. And as a scientist, as an engineer, I am adamant to my roots that it has to be peer reviewed and it needs to be, a large scale study. It can't be a Google scientist that says, oh, these things are killing us. There's fact and fiction in that regard. And my only warning there is just go with caution. There are containment requirements for batteries. There are things that happen. They catch fire and you just can't put them out. You have to let them burn. There was a town, it's up in, or a installation up in Watertown. It burned for days, black billowing smoke for days, because that's the only way you deal with a battery fire. It's thermal runaway, let it burn out till the fuel source is gone. There has to be better ways. I mean, an EV starts, electric vehicle starts on fire, the same thing. They either dunk it in a tank of water or dig a hole in the ground and shove it in it. There has to be a better way. But as far as leaching into the soil just because they exist there, I find that hard to believe.
Okay, and then my other question, one of the things that, is a big sell is, the green power. It's also my understanding that the power goes into the grid. There's no way for the electric companies to say, you're buying green power. It's all mixed together. You're buying the power from a nuclear plant, as far as you know.
Sure.
So I just think that's a mistruth that is really being pushed, that should be, they shouldn't be allowed to say that, because there is no such thing.
Oh, I understand. I mean, you look at the bottom of any plastic bottle that's not a number 1 or number 2, it's got the arrows on it. You think it's recyclable. It's not. And then the same thing is said that this is green power. Yes, the more green power that goes into our grid, the more green power is available. That's fact. But like I said, with the Camillus Instas Community Distributed Generation Program, it's not available right to them. I mean, maybe it is, and maybe they didn't want it, or didn't, maybe they weren't marketed or targeted for the clean energy. It's come out, it's hitting other parts of the state. I didn't dig deep enough in it. I just thought like, oh, here's a problem. But I fundamentally want to believe that the more renewable energy into the program, the more that's available for all of us. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay right in our community. I mean, the hydropower project, the Robert Moses power plant in Niagara County, New York, is a great example of that. All of that low cost power does not stay right in Niagara County. We are a net exporter of energy.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much,
course.
Don. I really appreciate it. What a wonderful program. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So just a side note, TJ will be greeting us for lunch today in the conference room. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for you demonstrating the power of teamwork this year. And it's really been great. And I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a happy, prosperous New Year. And I'd like to get a motion to adjourn. Pete Corbin and Lauren Walrod. All in favor, say Merry
January-
Christmas. All
Mr. Chairman, is it January 7th we elect a
January
chairman?
7th that you.
Not this year. You got a whole nother year. You're stuck with him.
But Mr. Chairman, there's just one comment with Matt Roberts. If he needs to think about this for a minute. Now, he wants people in alphabetical order. I've got a nurse on one side and a funeral director on the other.
I'll make you look very pretty.
All in favor of adjourning, say Merry Christmas.